Well, good morning, literally. It is about 9:15 in the morning, and as you can tell from my backdrop, I am out in the shop. It is May 15th, 2020, in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak, the modern day apocalypse, if you believe half the crap on the internet. But we are out in the shop getting ready to start on the next project. And this is another rehab vlog, another rehab project. I'm hoping to be the last rehab project for this season. Depending on how the season goes, I may have a couple of more. I don't know. But for this project, we are going to be dealing with foam panels. I bought a bunch of foam after Halloween, and we've done a couple of projects with foam so far. This is all I got left. I'm not even sure. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 sheets left. So, I've already got a little bit of work done. Going to be obviously working on foam carving. Nothing new. We're rehabbing some old panels. Right there. That is the panels for my spider hallway, or my spider area in my haunt. And these desperately needed to be rehabbed. I shouldn't even use these last season because they were really beat up. But they need to be repainted. I got a lot of the panels have some damage to them and what have you. So this is going to be our next project. I spent about 20 minutes out here already. You can tell there's a big hole in the stack there. That's where these were sitting at. I just got done pulling them out. My first task now, after I've got them all out, is I've got to sort them. I got to figure out which panels need repair or replacement and which panels just need paint. And that's going to be the fun part. As I get to sort wall panels, then I need to get them off the grass. Sue-Ann had the sprinklers going out here this morning, and I didn't realize she had the timer set for them to go off this morning. And I had to turn the sprinklers off because I didn't feel like getting wet. So I need to get those sheets off the grass into the shop so we can turn the timer back on. But that's what we're going to be working on. We're working on spider panels. Well, we got some work done. I went through and sorted out all the panels. I've got good panels, I've got notched panels, and I got the damaged panels out on the patio. Now, I need 40 of that panel, or of those panels, because I'm including the notch into that. I've got 26. And I need 12 1-foot panels. And these panels out here, they're short ones, my only good 1-foot. So I need 11 more. I've got enough damaged panels that I can cut them down and get my 12-foot panels. So that's fine. Grand total on the notched and good panels is 26. So I'm going to end up needing to make up 14 more patterns. Now I have 18 sheets of uncarved foam. So I'm going to end up with 4 sheets left over, which is nice, in a way. But then I have to store them, so who knows? So my next step is I got to get these out of the way so I can drag out the table saw so I can get the damaged ones, which are out on the patio, in here. And I'm going to get those cut down to 1-foot panels. That way that end of it's done and all they'll need is paint, which will happen once I get those carved to get those. Alright, 1-foots are done and put away. Our next step is layout. I've got to replicate this pattern on the blank sheets of foam so I can get them carved out. Now, when I did these, I chose to have the grout lines raised, or be the surface of the pattern. So the stones are all inset. And what I need to do is I need to lay out these grout lines. Once the grout lines are laid out, then I can carve. Since this is a kind of the only regular aspect of this pattern are my horizontal, or in this view, vertical grout lines. Those stay the same all the way through. So what I'm going to end up having to do is I'll use my tape, line it up at the bottom, get my measurement, and I can write it down. The other grout lines, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I'll probably end up doing the same thing, just doing measuring, writing my totals down. Though I have my sheet with me and I can go through and, you know, lay out the patterns, you know, on the blank foam, get them all sketched out. But right now it's just basically a little bit of math, a little bit of measuring to figure out where my grout lines are. And it will take a little bit of time. Not much, but a little bit. Well, we got the layout on all 14 panels done. Here, and I'll go over here like this so you can see them together. There's one of the finished panels. And then I've got the ones I just got sketched out done. And I've got the pattern mimicked fairly close. I mean, there are some really slight differences. My main concern with the panels is the horizontal lines. I need those to match, and they match close enough that it ain't gonna bother me any. It's the field that might be off here or there a little bit, but it looks close enough to pass. I don't think unless someone grabs a tape measure and goes out and starts measuring, then they'll even notice. Next step is I gotta start getting the panels up on the table, and then we're gonna get the old handy dandy Dremel out. Well, actually it is out, but we're gonna get plugged in and I'm gonna start getting the carving done. Time to make all that pretty pink snow. Okay, now that we've got all the carving done, I've got 14 panels I need to detail. Now on the panels, usually once I get them carved, I'll come back in here and sand them down to have more of a smooth surface. With this pattern, I'm purposely leaving it rough. I'm not going to be sanding it. That's because the next detail work I've got to do involves this stuff. It's called great stuff. And a lot of hunters use this. It's a spray foam used for caulking cracks, seams, what have you. Now, word of warning with great stuff. 1, when using it, wear gloves. 2, make sure you're wearing clothes you don't mind getting ruined. 'Cause sure as tootin', no matter how careful you are, you're going to get great stuff on your clothes. No matter how you're applying it. One way or the other. And even if you get it wiped off immediately, the glue in it will set up on the clothes and ruin the clothes. So make sure you're wearing your grungies when not using great stuff for Halloween props. But as far as how I am going to be using it, you know, this is one of the original panels, and you'll see all this work in here. That's all great stuff. Applied by hand. What I do is I take a can, spray some great stuff on my hand, and just go through and wipe each section I want great stuff on. Okay, after that, when I get to that point, I have 2 choices. 1, I can leave the panels laying horizontally while the great stuff is expanding and setting up. If I do that, though, I'm going to end up getting a mound in each spot, and I don't want a mound. I want that look, and to get that look, you just stand the panel up, let it sit overnight. And the nice thing is when I'm applying it, I'm just taking my hand and smearing it. I'm not trying to get it even. I'm not trying to do anything spectacular. I'm just trying to get it applied. So you end up with little ridges, and you end up with little flat spots. You know, and that's the look I want. You know, some of the great stuff even came down and got on, you know, what was drying, got down onto the grout lines, and I left it. I kind of like that look. So that's what we're going to be working on now. I had 6 cans left over from the last project I did. I don't know if that's going to be enough to do the 14 panels. I don't remember how many it originally took me, but I'm thinking that's probably going to be more than enough. If not, I gotta go down to Home Depot and buy paint for this project tomorrow. And if I run out of great stuff tonight, I'll get more great stuff tomorrow to finish the project. Okay, we got one panel done, the first panel, and I got a messy hand. And like I warned you about the closing, I was right. I did get a little bit on me. We started at the top, so that was the first area done, and that's what we ended up with. And then scrolling on down, and then the bottom is the last part I did, and it hasn't swelled as much as the stuff up top. But by morning it'll be all done. Now, as to the grout lines, it's almost impossible to keep the great stuff off the grout lines when you're smearing it. Now what I can do is if I end up with too much great stuff on the raised portions here, I can come back with some sandpaper and just sand it right off. You know, and I'll probably end up having to do that with all these panels, you know, to get my grout lines looking the way I want them. And naturally, I will leave some great stuff on the grout lines. But it'll take, 5-6 hours for it to set up all the way before I'd feel comfortable messing with it. So, it will be interesting. As to how much great stuff it took. These cans I bought, over a year ago for a project. I've had them for about a year and a half. They don't have as much oomph as they did when they were fresh. I got a little bit left. I'll probably be able to get part of a row, maybe full row done. But I pretty much used a whole can on that panel. If I remember right, I was doing about 2 panels or so per can, or just about 2 full panels with 1 can, and I'm not going to get that out of these 6, definitely. So I'm definitely going to have to buy more tomorrow, or when I make it down to Home Depot, which will probably be after next segment, or before next segment. Okay, all the foaming is done, or great stuffing. I got all 14 panels done. Now, before I can start paint, I gotta get in here and start cleaning up. As you notice, along the edge here, I've got foam sticking over the edge. I need to go around all 4 sides of the panel, trim all that off, and then I got a lot of foam on the grout lines. And while I'm leaving some of it, the most of it needs to come off because I want the grout lines to be distinct. And the only way to get it off, really, without gouging the foam, is to use a sanding block. Now I've just got the first one done, and I've shaved the sides, and you can see the grout lines a lot better on it. But I did, like here, it bubbled up over on the grout line. I left that, and I even got some up here on the grout line and stuff. You know, here and there, you know, I left some of the great stuff. And that just kind of adds to the effect, I think. Now, another warning I wanted to give out too. Last thing I was mentioning about wearing gloves and, you know, getting stuff on your clothes or wear, you know, clothes you don't mind getting ruined. The other thing I should warn about too is if you're doing this, do not do this. When you first get the great stuff on, until it dries all the way, do not stack them. Great stuff and the foam that we use for carving makes a great glue. You end up gluing your pieces together and destroying them trying to get them apart. So make sure you have them, you know, out single, you know, until they dry all the way. And then after they dry, you can stack them. I stacked those because I was running out of room. But figured I better add that. So now I get to sit and go over panels, and it's going to take a couple hours to do. Oh, hey, we got the great stuff done. We got the cleanup on the grout lines done. Now we're into the, I guess what you could call the fun part, painting. I've got 14 panels in here. That was the new panels I had to make up, and I've got the rest out on the patio. Painting is a 4 to 5 set, or 4 to 5 part process, I should say. First process is a primer coat. I've got to cover these and all the panels, and there's actually 46 panels total. We'll go through and we'll get them all primered, which is a coat of white, to get those done. And then with having so many panels to do, I don't have enough room to do them all at once in the shop. I can only get about 25 panels in here. So I'm going to have to get the first set sprayed, take a break for an hour or two, let them dry, come out and get them out of the shop, bring the last of them in, get them sprayed, and so on to get the white done. Once the white's all the way done, we're going to come through and we're going to repeat the process but coat them in yellow. Yellow is going to be, for these inset spots here. The high spots, on the other hand, are going to be green. This shade of green right here. And that will be done by airbrush. And then step 4 will be the grout lines, and I haven't picked the color out for the grout lines yet. And that's put on by brush. 5th step is going to be touch-ups. If I need to do touch-ups, there will be a 5th step. And a couple of panels will probably need a little bit of touch-up here and there. But the white and the yellow is going to eat up a lot of time. Basically because of the dry time between sets. So we're going to get started on that, and I'm not going to grab the camera every time I get a color done and show you, hey, here's the white, here's the yellow, we'll just go with the flow. Well, progress made. We got a mess, or what looks like to be a mess. All the spraying is officially done. We did our coat of white, then a coat of yellow, and I just got done using the airbrush to get the green on there. And with the green on there, it looks like a disaster. But anyway, spraying's all done, so all my spraying equipment has been put away. It's now time for the brush work, and I got 2 different things I need to do. First one, which we're going to be tackling next, is I need to come back in with some yellow and go through and clean up the green a little bit here and there and do some detailing work with the yellow. And that's probably going to take about a week to do. It's painstaking work. The other thing is the grout lines, and that's also brush work. And as of this moment, I still haven't picked a color. It's between black, gray, and maybe a bronzy gold color. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. I might do some test panels. I don't know. But that's down the line. Our next thing to do is to come through, touch up the green, and get, with yellow and get all the panels finished that way. And we got a Kaylee who wants to be on camera. Just came over and started butting me. Huh, sweetie. But she's been out here helping off and on throughout the project. She hates the spraying because of the air compressor. She hates the air compressor. Okay, I got one done. What you're seeing now is the ones that haven't been done. Okay, so I started out basically with that mess and ended up with this. Way more definition. And there'll be even more definition once the grout lines are done. But right there, that took about an hour and 45 minutes to do. I've got 40 of these damn panels to do. 46 altogether if I count the 12 1-foots. And I've gotten one done, so I've got 45 left to do. I'm probably only going to get about 4 panels done a day. 4 to 5 panels done a day if I'm lucky. So this step is going to take some time. I got the yellow touched, or I should say I got the green touched up on 2 panels. And I decided, my goal was, I was going to go through and get the green and yellow touched up on all the panels, and then come back through and do the grout lines. I decided, to hell with it, I'm going to touch up my green and yellow and then do the grout lines at the same time. That will mean as I get through with each panel, the panel will be done. I won't have to touch them again other than to put them away. I got out 3 colors. Black, gray, and bronze. I was originally thinking, I was really heavily leaning into doing the grout lines in bronze. I figured the bronze on the grout lines would highlight, you know, the yellow and the gold a little bit more. And it'll be a little bit darker shade. And I thought I had some bronze. And actually I did. I haven't touched that shade of color in several years. Apparently the lid wasn't on very tight. I went to get into it. It was hard as a rock. So the bronze ended up going in the trash. I was kind of leaning away from the black as well, because I used a blackish grayish color originally on the panels. I wanted something different. So I decided, after discussing it with the set dresser, to do 1 panel up in gray. And I'm not liking the gray. It just seems too light of a color with all the yellow and the green on there. And talking to the set dresser and stuff, she kind of agrees. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to do them in black. And first off though, Ram is hungry. So Ram's going to go get some lunch. And then when I come back out, that panel will be dry enough I can hit it in black and be done with it, do that one in black, and then we can get back into doing the yellow and green touch-ups, and we'll do the grout lines and be done with the panels. And I'll give you guys another look after I get the project all the way done. I'll set quite a few up side by side so you can see what they look like all together and finished and what have you. But right now it's touch-up. Okay, finally, last segment. All the panels are done. Now, it's time to give you a look at the finish. And I told you I'd give you this look. This is what the panels will look like when they're up in the haunt. And I'm sorry, I cannot go back any further. I got too much crap in the shop. But there you go. That's the new walls for the spider display. Now that we're down with the end of this, I gotta get these dang things put away. And it's going on Thursday. And we did go down and do some shopping. I picked up some 2-inch foam, 3 sheets of it for the next project. We will be starting on the next project next week, which means a new vlog starting next week. Probably Monday. And the new vlog series I'll announce at the start of the next vlog, so you're going to have to wait and see. But it's going to be a multi-part vlog. Or it's going to either that or a 4-hour long vlog, and I think you'd rather have a multi-part vlog instead of one hell of a vlog to watch. So with that, we're going to call it quits, and we're going to say stay spooky, stay toxic.